I'm so not ready, but we're going. What up? It's Friday. Whew. Yes, I'm so happy it's the weekend. I had a short week. I think we all did. What up, Dwayne Bush? Well, did Danae in the casa? All right, let me get you in here. Let's see how quickly we can get her in this time. Yay! That was
Yay!
So. You got the magic touch. I heard that. What's cracking?
Just getting ready to leave for Fab Tech.
I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited.
I know.
For you. No, not a Chicago fan myself. But
I haven't actually been to Chicago. I've just been through it, so we'll see how it goes.
How exciting. I wanted to do, like one of those TikToks where they're talking about the influencers, like, But I was like, okay, I'm not going to be a jerk. Look at my necklace. Yeah. All right, you guys, it's Friday. I know I look crazy. I'm trying to go for like the Joan Jett today with the dark eyes.
Good.
Yeah. Anyhow, hi guys. Friday. My name is Tiffany. I'm the founder of Welding Women Syndicate, and we have Welder Danae with us, and that's her Instagram handle. Yeah. And I was just watching you and Bogey's interview, so I'm not going to go through like the standard. I know we have notes.
Yes.
I want to get into teaching.
Yes.
Hi, Mike. Sorry, guys. It's a whole huge, like, trending subject right now. So, just to let everybody know where you're teaching, what classes you're doing, let everybody know about that real quick.
Yeah, so I currently teach at NCK Tech in Beloit, Kansas. That's actually where I went to welding school. Came full circle. Never thought I'd be back, but I am so excited to be back. It was kind of one of those opportunities that I couldn't turn down. So I'm going into my third year teaching, and my program is a 9-month program where students learn all processes. So stick, MIG, flux core, TIG. With like TIG welding, we do aluminum, stainless steel, carbon steel. With the MIG, we do carbon steel and aluminum. We do all the different cutting processes. We even get in a little bit of robotics.
Cool.
Drafting, because that's one of my specialties. So we throw a whole lot at them in a short amount of time, which I think I might have some of my students on here and they could probably vouch that it's pretty rigorous. But me being a past graduate of the program, it's so worth like the time and effort they have to put into the program. I would say it was honestly more rewarding graduating with my welding certificate than my other college degrees that I have and my high school degree. So
what degree?
So worth it. Say that again, sorry.
What degree did you have?
So I actually have 2 degrees. I have an associate's degree in welding engineering, and then a bachelor's degree in applied technology with an emphasis in manufacturing. So
I love it.
Kind of got a mix of things.
Yeah. Do you think it's been helpful to you to teach at the school that you originally learned at?
I would say it's definitely made it not as like nerve-wracking.
Sure.
Because I kind of know like the system. So like I actually co-teach. So there's another instructor and we teach the same students at the same time.
Oh.
Depending on how COVID is. Like last year, we had to split up our classes. So like I took half the class, he took half the class, and then like every week or so we would just switch. But this year, thankfully, so far, knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't get
wood, dude.
Hopefully it doesn't get too much worse. We're actually able to we're able to co-teach as of right now, which I think the students get so much more out of that, because he has his background, because he's been teaching. The guy I teach with, he's been teaching there for almost 20 years. So he was the one that taught me. And so just the different experiences that both of us had, our students get a lot of background knowledge and more than just like the welding knowledge that they're there to learn. So, yeah.
That is very cool. Now let's talk about, you are on your third week, right?
Yes, my third week.
Hell weeks, right?
Yes. We're slowly getting into, the routine, and my students are slowly getting it figured out. But yes, the first couple weeks are very rough.
And nothing against the students. It's a transitional period for not only
Yes.
students, but yourself. All new personalities, getting acclimated to so many new things, and it's a lot to take on as an instructor. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So definitely like having to learn everyone's personality, and then like on top of that, learning their learning style. So like obviously everyone learns a lot different.
Right.
And so being able to understand how each one of them learns to hopefully better teach them so that they get the information. And I like to call my program like a family. We're all a family, whether you were in the same class as someone or you're helping someone that's down the road that graduated before you or whatever.
Yeah.
We're a family. So like, I don't want to leave students behind, but I'm also not going to like hold their hand and be like, do the work for them. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting, but I think after the student, like a lot of my students are like 18, 19 years old. So they're fresh out of high school. They really haven't been out on their own before. And that's definitely a learning curve for a lot of them, having all the freedom that they didn't used to have before and getting into that routine of waking up early and all of the homework we throw at them and getting all their welds done and all of that is definitely a transitional period. But once a couple weeks go by, they usually kind of get in the hang of it. So,
groove. Now, do they ever give you any kind of like hell because they're like women?
Oh yeah. Yes. Okay. As of this year, I have not had too much of a problem.
Good.
But I will say, even me being fairly young into the industry, that's definitely like, I noticed a difference since my instructor, he's been in the industry for a long time, my other instructor, and, me being fairly new into it, I definitely see like the respect not being the same. So they try to get away with more with me than they do with him. And I definitely have to like put my foot down right off the bat. Otherwise it'll get just out of hand. But yeah, I've seen like those, sorry guys out there, but I've definitely seen like the guys out there being very hesitant that one, I'm female and, I'm not much older than they are. And so them like thinking that I actually know what I'm talking about usually is very hard for them to, accept.
It's funny. I always laugh at this. Like, I've had it. That's why I asked, just because it's so comical. And you're thinking, I'm the teacher here. Like, if you knew more than me, you would be here. You're the one taking the class. You're going to, like, try to qualify me? Come on now.
Exactly.
What is something that you do to, like, put your foot down immediately to kind of, like, make sure that your presence is
like I would say, so like something I actually always tell my students is like not to be cocky, but confident.
Yes.
And so like a lot of times where I get the grief from them not wanting to listen to me is oftentimes in the classroom. So like with me being fairly young in the industry, obviously I don't know everything. I mean, who knows everything?
No.
There's so much in this industry that I'm always constantly learning.
Yeah.
And so like when it comes down to like the shop, like I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Obviously I'm still learning and getting, better and all of that. But like I earn the respect, I would say, in the shop, like by me going to show them how to like weld, and I lay down a bead and they're like, oh, okay, maybe she actually does know what she's talking about. Or like I'm talking about like some tip like in the shop or in the classroom, like, hey, do this the next time you're out in the shop when you're trying to do whatever they're working on. And at first they're like not wanting to, listen, but then they go out in the shop and they actually do what I told them to do. And they're like, okay, maybe she does know what she's talking about. But
I know. You're like, heaven forbid I give you good advice because I'm not the teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some shade right back. I don't even care. Like, I have my own set of like rules that I do in the beginning, but you just kind of, all right, I see you. Let's do it. Like if you want to challenge me, let's go.
Exactly.
It's like,
bring it on. I am ready for the challenge.
as long as you display, make sure that you set forth your confidence and your power in the beginning, they pretty much. I mean, I have young and I have old, and I've been
Mhm.
challenged across the board. You know what I mean? As long as you don't back down from them, that's the whole point. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
So, okay, so you guys, fun fact. The way that I know Dania, okay, so I think she was watching one of the lives, and the cool thing about the algorithm, social media, is that I keep diving deeper and deeper into education, and I keep coming across more and more educators. It's so
Mhm.
fantastic, right? So she basically reached out to me and was like talking about mentoring, and I told you I was going to get into this stuff early. So
Yes.
tell me about like idea, because we truly have we touched base on it the other day, just briefly.
Mhm.
I want you to talk about what you're talking about as far as like mentoring and education.
Yeah. So like me being in rural Kansas, first off, there's not very many or if any at all that I know of like female welding instructors, especially in the post-secondary education
Right.
field. And so like me starting out, like yeah, I had, the instructor that I taught with, I teach with, but like I didn't necessarily have someone to reach out to talk about things, like to understand what I'm going through, especially as a woman's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been hard. But the more digging and like people that I've like been talking to and reaching out to through like social media, there's so many of us out there that I had literally no idea.
Right. Thank God,
Um,
media.
exactly. And so what I think would be a really cool idea is to start like a mentoring program, like all across like the country. You don't necessarily have to like obviously like meet up, but like if you do, that'd be cool. But like for females that not necessarily are just in like the welding industry, but like in the trades in general. Because I know obviously there's females in all of the trades, and there's definitely I think there needs to be that mentoring program. One, because then you can bounce ideas off of each other, which as a teacher, like learning new things is not a bad thing. I know several instructors are pretty stuck in their old ways.
Yes.
Um, but new things are not bad things because sometimes, like the old things that you've been doing, students aren't necessarily understanding. So you've got to find new ways to do things. And even in the 3 years that I've been teaching, like I've noticed a difference in the way like students comprehend things.
Sure. It's a
Probably because
thing across the board, period.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, being able to bounce off ideas to each other, just being able to talk, like open up, like if you're having
Yeah.
a bad day, being able to like go to someone that understands what you're going through, because like you're talking to someone that doesn't understand what you're going through, then they always like, yeah, they might care, but like they don't understand.
Right.
So,
Say that's kind of what the syndicate is. Just saying.
yes.
It's not, but it's educator run, because it's
Yes.
exactly right. There's not very many, and thankfully, because of the algorithm, we are able to like do our research and find them. But there's not necessarily a place, and that's the whole reason why Eliza and I started this, because there's not a place just for women who weld that's more on education and the betterment of the community. You know what I mean? There's not, and there's a lot of great places. It's there's AWS, and there's so many great places, but I hate encompassing all trades. I'm not an all trades woman, you know what I mean? And sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like welding definitely gets lost in it, and we need like our space, because you're gonna sit there and talk to a carpenter teaching, and they don't know what a torch is, or they don't know,
Exactly.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
I like having like the smaller niche type situations.
Mhm.
And it's always cool whenever I find an instructor. I always like totally like geek out, like, oh my God, please let me talk to you. No, like you
Yes.
it's just a whole different breed of people who educate, like,
Yes.
why do you even want to get, because it's not like you grow up and you want to be a welding instructor. Like, it's
No.
that you, like, I'm telling you, you may not know, but there's certain traits that you have just like all your life in this place here. So like me necessarily so over the course of the few years, that you're in the, so what is it that you think brought you to this space right now of teaching?
Honestly, like my professors that I had like through university and even in high school always told me like, hey, you need to be a teacher. And the first thing that came out of my mouth was, no way. Never. Not gonna do it. Never. Not at all. Nothing. Don't
Why
want any
though?
part of it.
Why?
Well, because like I saw what like my welding instructor in high school had to go through, and I'm like, there's no way I am gonna deal with that.
Right.
I don't have the patience for that. But never say never. So like how I got into this position is at the time I was working millwright. I was working for a company out of Canada. I absolutely loved that job. That was one of my favorite jobs I ever did. Being, you know, like 200 and some odd feet in the air, working on a grain elevator or whatnot, whatever we were doing, I absolutely loved it. It was something new every day. I got to do traveling and whatnot, and the money was good.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was still going to school actually, but I was getting ready to graduate. And when I graduated, I was going to be promoted to lead millwright. So I was going to be in charge of all the guys under me because I was the only female at that company at that time. And I was super excited. But like on a Friday at 6 p.m., we got an email saying that that company had been put into receivership and went bankrupt.
Oh no.
So yeah, my instructor at that point had kind of like put a bug in my ear, like, hey, the other instructor might be leaving. Would you be interested? And I was like fully honest, like, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I'm in a good position with the company that I'm at, and I don't know if I want to leave where I'm at. And then that happened, and I was like, I called him up. He's like, yeah, I think I might want that job because, I mean, it was available to me. And I was like, I guess if I don't like it, I don't necessarily have to stay there. But I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made, and I absolutely love teaching. It's challenging, but so rewarding when you get to see students that like you made a huge impact in their life, and you taught them a trade that can stick with them their entire life, and they can always fall back on it. So I absolutely love teaching now. So I guess I should have listened to those instructors and teachers I had and just went for it. But I guess if I wouldn't have went down the road I did, I might not be teaching where I'm at. So.
Well, you're in the right space, I think. I think it definitely translates differently when a woman does it. And I know everybody is probably like, oh, welding has, there's no gender to it. Trust me, there is, though. It's a completely different walk when a woman does it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it actually attracts more women. So I've had when I first began teaching, no women. And then to the end, 4 women in one class, which is huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It definitely translates a little bit differently. I think just because I don't think they're necessarily well received when women those type of programs. And I know when I lived in Arkansas, Midwest and the South don't necessarily receive women who any type of like blue collar trade. You know, learn it and everybody does it, but it's like, she should be having babies instead. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you know, girl, I'm from Los Angeles, and I was like, the fuck? You know what I mean? What?
Yeah.
And it's real interesting because women have a natural tendency to nurture others, and just like you said, you're not favoring anybody. You're creating an individual curriculum per person, but nurture, like, we see something in you, and we're going to bring it out so you have the best experience. And I think that women have a natural, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Love
very much so.
So, like, okay, so impression first month welding or as a welding instructor, like, I want to hear because I know you're probably like, holy shit.
it was eye-opening. First off, they do not prepare you for the amount of stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
No
at all. Like, you guys think we have our summers off, but we really don't have our summers off. Like, depending on where you're at. Like, I don't teach in the summer, but, like, you definitely don't have your summers off, especially because, like, my program, we compete in Skills USA, so if we go to nationals, there's half my summer.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other half of the summer getting ready to go for the next year. And just like all the prep work that you've got to do, like before and after class, because you sure as heck don't have time during class because you're teaching.
Right.
And like my program goes from 7:30 to 4 o'clock. So, I mean, it's a long day. I mean, yeah, it's stressful, I would say, to say the least. But then at the end of the year, it's like definitely like, okay, all of that stress, late nights, prepping, being up at the school, waking up early, all of that was so worth it. So, but yeah, they definitely don't prepare you for teaching. Like they try, but like, trust me, there's so much more to it than what you would think.
Now, what are requirements in your area to teach?
So like at the, oh, sorry, go ahead.
If someone's actually looking to get into teaching, what are the requirements there?
Yeah. So where I teach at, the only requirement is that you have a degree higher than what you teach. So since my program is only a certificate program, technically, you have to have an associate's degree. But I already have a bachelor's degree, so I was
perfect.
Fine. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's in my area anyways. I know that definitely is different. Like, and I know it's definitely harder to get into teaching, like if you're going to teach at the high school level, which to me, I think is crazy. Like from what I've seen, like you have to have like a master's degree, and it's just like, why?
It's academia. It's academia. So
exactly.
We're going to get onto two things that you touched on that are just like, woohoo, my hot spots right here. So academia, Mr. and Mrs. Academia. So how well received are you with your colleagues? And I don't like drama, but like you're having a conversation with, we'll say, you know, one of the math instructors, or you teaches whatever, something that's not trades related. How does that work?
So our campus is actually really small, so I probably am a little better off than what like you might be, or other ladies, or you know, whoever in like a bigger college. But I would say I'm well received from those that aren't necessarily in the trades, which is awesome. But like I also support them, so like you will obviously have those students like, why am I taking gen eds? I hate this. This is stupid. I don't need it. And I am on their side, because like, yeah, I didn't necessarily enjoy those classes either, but like if it wasn't like a good reason to do it, they wouldn't make you do it.
Right.
So like I always tell them, if you might hate it, but stick through it. You could get some good knowledge out of it if you didn't have that mentality. Because, I mean, looking back, some of, like, my classes I took, honestly, I wish I would have paid more attention to. Like, I did. Like, I was a pretty good student. But, like, in the back of my head, also, I was like, why am I in this class?
Like psychology. But you know what? Psychology actually helps.
You could be using psychology every day. Like, reading people. I mean, there's a reason why you have to take it. And I know, like, a lot of people don't understand, but, like,
there's a method to their...
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like, when you explain this to people, you're like, okay, so how's that psychology class help me? Or how's that literature class? Because it's opening up a door to possibility. Plus, when you attain your degree, it then allows you to possibly teach in the future. So continue on with the education, you guys. It's very important.
Exactly. Or it could mean like a difference in pay that you get. So like say you get a certificate, but then if you had an associate's degree, who knows how much more money that could tack on to your salary. So.
Well, and at the same time, you also get a lot of younger students. So it's like life experience. It's just like you said, you know, being on a routine and time management, you know, being responsible away from mom's, you know, overbearing, you know, you know what I mean? So it's their, and we may not necessarily like or understand it, but there's a method to the madness, good and bad in it. You know, because I know a lot of my colleagues, they're talking about welding, you know, they look at us like we're just an expensive program, or you know, we don't necessarily have the resources for it, or it's not well received. And I've worked on technical campuses, and I've worked, you know, just a bunch of different places, and it seems to be across the board that it's a trade, it's welding, you know, it's not the glamorous, Glamour, you know what's glamour? Paying our bills.
Exactly. Or the fun stuff you could get with the money that you make because you'll be making good money.
Glamour.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's because there are so many, if you're trying to get into a glamorous aspect, there's that as well. You know, like you just have to open your eyes a little bit broader when it comes down to it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now you were talking about skills. What was your experience with Skills USA?
Yeah. So when I went to school, so let me rewind here. Got ahead of myself. So to participate in skills at my school, you have to like try out for the team because
Yeah.
we participate in welding fabrication and then welding individual.
Yeah.
And so like with welding fabrication, it's a team of 3, and
Yeah.
obviously individual. And depending on the year, like our state only allows us to bring so many students in individual. So like usually we've got about 20, 24 students, and obviously there's not that many spaces when it comes to the students actually competing. So like we host our own like weld off before Skills USA to figure out who's on the team. So I had to weld off against all my classmates. And I ended up getting, I think I was like 3rd in the class. So like I was on like the edge. So like I could either do welding fab or welding individual because of where I was at. So I had the option. And I knew like nerves, because nerves get the best of you. Or they get the best of me anyways,
Right.
usually. And so I decided to go welding fab because then I could rely on 2 other students to help out or, you know, help get through the nerves of the situation and the contest. So we competed at the state level when I was in school, and we got gold. And then we went on to nationals, which is a whole nother ball game. If you know welding fab, like our state competition and nationals are definitely different. I mean, we put something together, but like the things you've got to do leading up to nationals is a lot.
Yes.
Which I know it's changed since when I competed.
Mm-hmm.
But like you've got to create a blueprint over a topic that they give you, and then you got to go and build a project. And now, like this last year, say that again, sorry.
That's how our states was. They gave us a topic that we had to create a blueprint, and then we had to practice it, and then we had to do it almost exactly, right there in the skills hall. So
yeah.
I think I went in 2017 is when I went.
Yeah, so I went actually the year before you did. That's when I competed. So
like, what year was it? Oh my God, imagine if we were the same.
That would be crazy. Small world. But yeah, like our state competition, it's a matter of like going to state, and then we build a project, and like we don't do the blueprint aspect of things, which I think we should, because there's a lot of value out of that.
Sure.
And then you get ready to go to nationals when you've got to do that element.
Yes.
But like when I went, you drew the blueprint of the project you were building, and I'm glad they changed that, because to me, I'm like, if another school's obviously got like the same kind of project, but like different, obviously, how are they going to judge that?
Right.
To me, it didn't seem fair the way they used to do it. Thankfully, they've changed that now to where like when you go to nationals, everyone's building the same project, and it's usually the winning blueprint from the year before. I think is how it goes.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm glad they changed that aspect of things. But I did that when I went to school, and now being a teacher, I am one of the advisors. And we've only been able to do it 1 year since I've been there because
COVID.
And last year was interesting. So everything was virtual. Not a huge fan of a virtual welding competition. So we had our state and then nationals. So this last year I had my welding fabrication team. It got gold. But they didn't want to compete nationals. So we didn't end up going to nationals, or doing nationals, I should say, for welding fab. But then I had welding individuals, and the ones that went, at least 3 of them placed in the top 3. And so the first place individual then goes to nationals, and he, I believe, ended up getting 10th. virtually at nationals this year. So
That's
did okay. It was definitely interesting with just how the whole virtual thing went. I think they handled it well, but I'm would be excited to be back in person, so they could get, like, when you go to nationals, like, you're on a national stage, you have representatives from Miller, Lincoln, AWS, Skills USA, like all these huge, like, big name people, which to me at that time I had no idea who they were, but like it's just so nerve-wracking when it comes to nationals, because you're on that national stage and you just got all these people watching you, and like you have to hit all these benchmarks, you know, to get those points, because if you don't, then I mean, it's nerve-wracking. But it's like, I highly encourage it to all my students. I'm like, do it, try for it, go for it, like do it, because it is so rewarding. And like me being able to, so when I competed at nationals, I got bronze. So I'm a bronze medalist at the national level, and then a gold medalist at the state level. And like, I have that on my resume.
Yes.
Literally every interview I've ever been in, that is always a conversation starter. They're like, what is this? Or,
Really?
you know, how did you, well, I don't know if that was just them trying to, like, they knew what it was, but that's like how they started the conversation. Or they're like, oh, what did you do here? Or what did you learn from this? Or it was always brought up in every interview after that, about it. So I definitely recommend it to anyone that has the opportunity,
Yes.
to go for it. So,
And
yeah.
to clarify what we're talking about, Skills USA is basically a nationally recognized competition amongst colleges and high school. And it's funny, both participated in college.
Yes.
Both got gold, which is insane, you know? Like,
Yes.
yeah, we're kind of famous. But it's just like, there was so many cool opportunities to meet with like Miller people and Lincoln people and AWS. Like, I had so many cool, like very, very important people in the industry supporting me, and like cheering me. Like, it was so humbling, you know what I mean? Because
Yes.
for a very long time, and just to kind of see them, and I'm like, what's the difference? It's because it's a competition that everybody basically recognizes. That it's not all colleges participate, and whenever I hear a college that doesn't, I'm like, well, why not?
Why?
Yeah, it's such a cool experience to put the students through, you know? I don't know. I love the fact that you had that experience. So
Yeah.
also, another very interesting one that I do not know anything about is Project MFG.
Yes, Project
Right?
MFG.
Okay, so would you tell us a little bit about exactly what that is and
Yes.
what your affiliation is with them? Thank you.
Yeah. So Project MFG, I would say, started about over a year ago, like a little bit before COVID started. And it started out as an advanced manufacturing competition. So like they did programming, CNC programming, designing, coding. I mean, it was intense, which if you go onto YouTube and you type in class of trades, you actually see the national competition for that competition. It's an awesome, awesome experience. There's 4 universities or colleges that competed in that. And it's just crazy to watch with the 5-axis Haas mills and all of that. It was intense. But here back last February, Project MFG, so they're actually a project led by the Department of Defense, to like bring awareness to the lack of, or I guess not being able to fill jobs like in the manufacturing industry, especially like with it being the Department of Defense. Oftentimes, like finding people that are qualified to work on defense jobs is really hard because of all the criterias depending on what it's for. And so they're trying to bring awareness on obviously the lack of being able to find people to fill those positions. But they're based out of Kansas City, which is right down the road from me. And they saw the need of just hosting welding competitions because in that area, they were in need of a lot of welders in the Kansas City area, which if you ask me, we're in like all over the United States, people are always trying to find welders. But they reached out to me and asked if I had any students that would want to come and compete in their, I would say it was like kind of like a mock competition, like it was a legit thing, but they were just kind of testing the waters to see how it would go.
Yeah.
And it went really well. I took 5 students to that competition. I think one of them tied for one of the positions, but the top 2 places were my students. Then there was one that tied with 3rd, and then the others were in that as well. So they technically took like the top 5 places, and we were the top team. And they made the trip out to my program and kind of like walked around my shop, and they're like, which my shop is one of the, or my program is one of the longest standing programs there. So it's been there since like the school was started, almost, give or take. And we're in one of the original buildings. So my college that I teach at started back like in the late 60s. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine it was built, our building was built back then. And so we're kind of like a dungeon in some aspects.
Back when God was born. What the heck?
So like our facilities are okay, but like we have got the most incredible machines. So, like we've got new and old and blue and red, and
that's
like
cool.
Our students have an awesome opportunity to train on different machines, which I pride myself, like our program, in that, because like some programs, students only get to learn on one machine. Yes. Which obviously, like if you go out in the real world, like who knows, like if you go for a weld test, who knows what you might be getting. So like being able to like understand like that not every machine runs the same, like settings might be different, all of that is an awesome thing. But they were surprised, I guess, at the type of students that we were putting out by what our program looked like. If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. I guess. And so they asked me, so like they kind of gotten their feet in a lot of different like project things with like their advanced manufacturing competition, and then they were trying to ramp up this welding competition. And so they got a hold of me here back in like April, and they asked if I would want to be their welding competition coordinator. And since I didn't have anything exactly planned for the summer, I was like, sure, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Which that was crazy, trying to plan welding competitions with a pretty short notice, but I got some done. Got to do some traveling this summer, seeing different schools, which was really cool. Meeting awesome people. So we had like these regional competitions. I was mainly out like east because I was having a hard time finding schools that go during the summer, or like when they would quit their 1 year, and then I know.
We just met though, and it's funny because we just met, I don't know, a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. So I've been
but and then we had some criteria of like the type of machines you had because of some of our sponsors, which I'm so thankful we had those sponsors, but it kind of made it hard finding some of the competitions because they had to be a specific brand. Right. And so that made it a little bit more challenging. But I was able to host some competitions, and here actually at the end of the month, so the top 3 places from the competitions that I hosted this summer, and then the one that my students competed in, they get to go out to Cleveland, Ohio, to visit the Lincoln Electric Training Facility, which that gives away one of our sponsors. And they get to compete in the national competition, and they're going to like put up, like do the production that they did for the class of trades, and put it up on YouTube. And yeah, you should, like, I'm sure people are slowly starting to see Project NFG. We're getting out there more. Yeah. Because I know they've been doing a lot of like posting of AWS stuff. Arc Junkies guy, Jason Becker, AWS. Yeah, they're trying to get a little bit more known.
I have seen. I think I'm even following them now, and that's just past like couple of months. So
yeah. So they've got. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Slowly the awareness is building up. That's why I was like, I haven't exactly seen what exactly it is, but that brings more light to what they're doing.
Yeah. And we've got some awesome people on board, and we've got some hopes and dreams of what we want it to be. Like, we don't want it to be another Skills USA. We don't want to take away from Skills USA. We just want to, keep ourselves apart from each other. And I love, like, both like Skills USA. I absolutely love Skills USA. But I also absolutely love what Project MFG is doing and, you know, where they want to go here in the future. So I guess we'll see what leads to that. But they're just getting started, and I'm glad I can help them out, you know, trying to get the word out of their project. So
Yeah. Speaking of, we're at the halfway mark. Can we talk about it?
yeah.
The it that I'm talking
So if you've been following me on Instagram today and yesterday, I actually hinted at something which you might already know what I'm talking about if you follow this company. But Edge.
Don't tell him yet. Oh, don't tell him yet. Let's just see. What do you guys think she's gonna say right now? I already hinted in my story previous. So let's see if anybody knows what the heck we're talking about. You guys know what we're talking about yet? Let's see.
I know there's might be a couple of them that were on here at least at one point that might know what I'm talking about because they're also participating in it.
Oh no! And I didn't say. I said part of it, but not like the other part.
Yes. So. Let's see. I don't know.
Tell us. I don't know.
Okay. Shall we tell us? What?
Tell them. I think they should.
Tell them. Okay. So well, that's weird. I'm attending FabTech. I leave early Sunday morning. I am taking a train out there. That should be fun. Never done that before.
Very
I figured might as well try it, right?
Yeah.
I did enough air travel this summer that I'm like, I don't want to do that if I don't have to. And so trying the train route. But I hope all of you know of Edge Welding Cups. They're an amazing company that is female owned, which is even cooler. And their products are all made in the United States. They're handmade, glass blown. Got some right here. Welding cups. And you might know them from their glass MIG nozzles that they've got, which
freaking cool, dude.
Those are freaking awesome, but I don't have any on me at the moment. I
haven't used one yet.
I am gonna have to get some because I think that's the coolest thing. And when it comes to teaching, like especially with TIG welding, seeing the puddle, like when you're trying to do it and your student is trying to watch, it is one of the hardest things ever. And like what they're not like, so their lens is patented by them, which I am not dissing on any other TIG company because I do have several other brands in my toolbox. But what they do is awesome. And their lens, you can actually get up to 5 to 6 inches of stick out in a stable environment, which to me is
crucial.
Mind-blowing in my opinion. And then like their adapter actually works on 60 different cups. So they actually offer 60 different cups, all of different sizes. And this little adapter will fit on over 60 of them, which is awesome that I don't have to buy a different adapter for every single lens. So that's awesome. But Edge Welding Cups can't.
Them.
I am still teasing them. Here I go. I'll mention it now. So Edge Welding Cups unfortunately can't be at FabTech, but they reached out to 8 of us to see if we could help them out. So all 8 of us are attending are attending FabTech, and they sent us a package today of 25 stickers. These 25 stickers might be some money off of your purchase. Or if you're nice enough, you might get a free lens if you come see me at FabTech. So if you go on over to Edge Welding Cups, they actually made a post today. They announced the announcement today. So if you reach out to us, you have to come find us at FabTech. You've got to follow us. You've got to take a selfie with us. You've got to, I know, I love it. I get to meet so many awesome people. I'm already excited to meet Barbie for the first time.
Yes.
I am going to be fangirl. I have been following her for so long. I'm going to be fangirling when I finally get to meet her. And Stephanie Hoffman and all those awesome people. So, like, I'm slightly fangirling inside, but, like, I'm excited I get to meet all these awesome people that are coming to find me for these stickers. So, again, these stickers mean, I think they're $10 off for each sticker that you get.
Mhm.
And so there's 8 of us. So you potentially could be getting $80 off.
That is such a cool idea. I love this. I love that they're participating without participating. So
Exactly. It's an amazing idea. Like, I never would have thought of that.
that's so awesome.
And, oh my gosh, this is terrible, man. I don't know why I didn't write down the company, but there's a company that's 45 minutes away from Fab Tech that is having an open house on Wednesday. Go back to Edge Welding Cups. Their post that they went today. I'm a terrible person. I forgot the name of them.
Hold on.
And I forgot to write it down, which is even worse. But they're having an open house on Wednesday, and if you go out to their open house, you can get $20 off.
Cool. I love this.
So if you get all 8 stickers, you attend the open house, you're potentially going to get $100 in free stuff. On
So
top
you
of
on a
HTP. HTP. That's the company. Thank you.
Sorry.
So he is actually participating as well. SSP Weld, the one that said HTP.
Oh,
He's also one of the guys that's going to be out there with slaps. So if you reach out to us, come find us, get a sticker. You can potentially get $100 in free stuff. And then, like, with the selfie that you take, you've got to send it to Edge Welding Cups, and then you might get posted on their social media. And I absolutely... What's that?
They posted me.
Edge Welding Cups is an amazing company. So, like, if you're a welding instructor out there, I don't know who's all watching, reach out to them if you haven't already. I talked to the owner yesterday. She gave me a promo code for me, my other instructor, and all my students. That's good forever. Yeah. And I think that's incredible how much they back education, which education is so important. And so just, it's an awesome freaking company. Yeah. And definitely, like, I was stalking their website today, and just all of the things that they offer is incredible. And on top of that, it's female owned, which when I learned that, I was like, I'm on board.
You're like BFF.
BFFs. Yeah, I've got to support all those boss babes out there. Yeah. It's just awesome. So I'm glad to be on board with them.
Build up that community because we don't have enough of them. So
exactly.
See it. And so I think that when they don't necessarily market themselves that way, you know what I mean? It's just
no.
And in your head, you're like, oh, it's just another consumable company. But when you hear that, you're like, oh, I love you.
Yes, exactly. When I heard that, I was like, okay, yep, best friend, definitely shopping from, like, obviously I would have supported them anyways. But then when I found it was female owned, I'm like,
it just hits a little
definitely going to be shopping your shop.
Yes, yes. You know, you can appreciate that. It's not necessarily an easy path to be in this industry, you know, and women making that huge bright light for all of us. You're like, I love you. I really do.
Exactly. And just like the conversation I had with the owner on the phone yesterday, she was so passionate about what they do. And just to see the passion that she, you know, has for her company was awesome. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
I have to get her on here. I like
yes.
It.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know, because you see it, you can be it. And I always use that. And it's funny because Bogey this, and I'm like, it's so true, you know? Like, I think sometimes they forget to remind people that we as women don't have enough people to look up to, you know what I mean? So when you need goals, thank you.
Yes, exactly. It's
going to be a great time.
Yeah, that's one of the other ones. I knew there was like 2 of us on here. 2 other of them on.
So if we go onto the Edge Welding Instagram page, can we find each individual participating person or company?
Yes. So if you go over to the, like, I'll share it after this. I didn't want to share too much because I wanted to unveil it here. But if you follow Edge, you already know. But if you go over to Edge Welding Cups and you go, she made a post today that has every single account that's participating. And then again, you have to reach out to us. So like I'm taking classes while I'm there, and then I'm also participating in some of the AWS stuff. So I might be hard to find, but I'm going to be there all week.
You're gonna have stalking you. That's gonna be, you're gonna be like, excuse me, are you looking for a sticker or trying to kill me?
Yeah. But I know there's a couple of them that are only there on Monday, so the chances of you getting a sticker for them are probably going to be pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I don't think I mentioned, but I've got 3 glass cups that I'm giving away out there. I've got a couple different sizes. So, again, I have 25 stickers, but I've only got 3 of these that I'm going to be giving out. So you might also win a free cup while you're out there. So
what about the ones that are not participating? I'm gonna have to talk to them about this. I'm gonna be crying. I can't. I'm doing way too much than I should be right now. And I was like, it's either this or that for like big things that we're participating in. So I was like, oh man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that. Now I wanted to now I have talked about the El Camino, and then I was on Bogey's page and I was like, what is that? So which vehicle do you want to talk about? Or can we talk about both of your projects? Which one, what working on, which one, like, what are you what working on right now?
El Camino project is a long story. I haven't started on it because the title situation has been interesting. So I'm not 100% sure where that one's going to go, but I definitely know at some point I'm going to have an El Camino. Like, I still have the one, but like, we'll just leave it at that. It's an interesting situation.
Interesting situations. Can you lien sell it? I mean, can you put a lien on it? I used to buy and sell, and then we would sell like wayward company or wayward customers who didn't pay. You could just put a lien on it and
yeah.
I mean,
well, like the
tell
problem is they're having issues tracking down the title.
You don't need it.
Well, I know, but I don't know. I just don't want to deal with the mess of the lost title situation if I don't have to.
But if you want an Elko, then...
Well, I have another one that I possibly could go by that I know doesn't have the title situation, so I might lead to that. I don't know.
Now, why? Do you know out of Canada?
What? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, say that again.
Is out of Canada. Okay, so she's another welder who has an El Camino. So buy the El Camino. I'll send her to you so you can pay it, so you can follow her.
I don't know. I've always had a thing for El Caminos. I know, like, I had a cousin when I was younger that had an El Camino, and I don't know. It's always kind of stuck with me. It's unique.
Yes.
I like being unique, and so, like, I've always had this dream of building a rat rod, which I will at some point, yes, build a rat rod, but at this time I'm not going to.
Right.
Because I want to get I love racing. Jessie Combs is, like, my role model, and I wish I could have met her because I have a picture of her by my desk that I literally look at every day. Aww. And I want to strive to be like her. And I've dabbled in drag racing a little bit, and I fell in love with it, and I think I just love going fast.
Yes.
And so why I chose the Elko is because I have hopes and dreams to hopefully potentially have my own drag car at some point.
Cool.
And so that's kind of, and the Elko, like, you don't see Elkos around that much. The market for them is actually pretty higher than what I was expecting when I started looking for an Elko.
They have a cult following for them, though. I've noticed.
Yes, like there's definitely a cult following for them.
Like, absolutely love them. Even if you live like in the rural South, they're like, I don't think so. You know, like it's like pulling teeth when you want to buy them. Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I just love how unique they are, and I don't know. I've always kind of had a thing for them.
I'll send you everyone my favorite racers. There's a couple in like the Arkansas area that I'll send you so you can see, and they're super cool. Yeah,
perfect. But I've always wanted to dabble in the racing industry and all of that, like especially with like TIG welding, which I'm trying to get to that point. It takes time to get some of those tools and that to get into that. And so at some point I want to be welding more in that industry along with also racing at some point, I think.
Right. I love it. Now, what about the other project that I saw you sitting in front of? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so that one was a 1940s Chevy Deluxe Coupe.
Yes.
And my boyfriend is actually an auto collision instructor at the college that I teach at.
Oh, cool.
And his family has done restoration projects all like through his life. Because his grandpa was an auto body guy. And his dad's been around it and knows a lot more of like the mechanical side of things. So they've restored several, different people's projects throughout his life. And so that is for a customer. And I have the privilege of welding on it whenever they need something welded on it. So I've been like welding on the frame here lately because they're actually, instead of putting the straight 6 that was in it, they're putting an LS3 in it. So there's definitely been some modifications in that they've had to make to make that work. And I've been lucky enough to weld on it. So, yeah.
It's funny because I didn't even know that you had the opportunity to weld with Bogey. I was like, oh, so jealous. Each had the opportunity. Like when I met her, I think it was 2017 or 2016, right in the inception of when she started doing the all-girl builds. And I don't know if I was graduating college or I think that may have been part of the fire. I don't remember, but I couldn't make it for some reason. And then just recently I couldn't make it out. So I'm like, oh, I saw
We need to plan a trip where both of us go out there.
Oh my God, it would be so much fun, dude.
That would be
amazing. Like right around the stinking corner though. And I'm like, I am so booked right now. Like I can't even breathe.
Well, did you see their announcement?
No,
So they were originally planning, like on the build they're working on right now, to be unveiled at SEMA, this coming SEMA, like in November. But just with Volvo getting on board here, like pretty recently, they pushed it. So it's going to be next year.
For real?
For real. They announced that on Saturday. Was it Saturday, I think they announced that?
Oh, I didn't even, I'm telling you, yeah.
When they got the new car in there, I was like, I have no idea how they are going to make that deadline because it would have been freaking crazy, which in their live, they said like they would have made it, but like all these cool ideas that they had, they weren't necessarily going to be able to do because they weren't going to have the time for it, but now they have the time for it, so.
Sweet and sweet. Thank you. Just made my day.
So you still have a chance to go out there because I think that build is going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah,
like,
it's awesome.
It's already awesome, but like the fact that Volvo is on board and they're putting a brand new car, like all the innards of a brand new car in an old car is just freaking awesome in my opinion.
Well, Volvo, period, absolutely embraces women in that company. Did you see the interview with the lady technician from Volvo?
Yes.
I was mind blown and just absolutely impressed how well received they are with women. And like
it's
nurture, just like highlighting them. Like I'm gonna like like you're like I'm about to go get a Volvo now.
Right? It's freaking awesome. I absolutely love it. So I was out with Bogey in March. And at that point, we were just doing a lot of outside, like structural, like on the body things. At that point, Volvo wasn't a partner or anything. And so I was just doing a lot of like filling rust holes and building panel patch things and all of that. And I actually got the pleasure of giving a crash course in TIG welding when I was out there, which was awesome. That was a lot of fun. Yes. And met some really awesome ladies out there. And so how I got involved with Girls Gang Garage, well, one, I kind of knew who Bogey was, which I'm kind of slowly dabbling into.
Bogey's like my Jessie.
So, like, now, yeah, she's up there, too. So, like, when I went and visited her, I definitely fangirled. Like, that first day I walked into the shop, I'm like, I am working with someone that's on TV. I was literally fangirling at first. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I'm going to be working with Bogey. I cannot believe this.
You're
But
like,
then, like, she
right
is,
here, please.
yeah, exactly. She is an amazing, amazing, amazing lady. And how I found out about Girl Gang Garage was Barbie, because her and Bogey talk a lot. She mentioned it to me. Like, I reached out to Barbie, which I love Barbie because she actually will have conversations with you. And she's got all kinds of followers. Just the following she has is
Insane.
Crazy. And the fact that she'll actually have conversations with you means a lot.
Yes.
And so I reached out to her and she mentioned it to me. And I'm like, what? And I I looked it all up and I'm like, I have to be a part of this. And so I reached out to Bogey and finally was able to get out there. I was trying to get out there earlier, but, you know, that C word that everyone just loves got in the way. Darn COVID.
Don't say it.
I said it.
I know. Well, it's funny. I live in Corona, which is hilarious. They're like, really, Corona? Yeah, really. Now, the question, you know, I recently had the opportunity to interview Barbie. Go back and watch it. Everybody was freaking crying. Like, her, holy moly. Like, it was like life-changing, like, the conversation that we had. She had such a different and beautiful perspective of, like, women in the industry. It was just, like, mind blown.
Well, a lot of people don't understand, like, or haven't heard what she's all been through in her life.
Right.
Like, she has been through so much. Have you read her Fuck It Fuel?
No,
book?
I only read parts of it to do the interview, but the one that I have, oh no, it's not. It's the one afterwards. I read it in one night. Like, I read it and I was like, oh my God. Like, just her perspective on things helps you change, like, your attitude on things. You know, you're thinking, like, this is a world-renowned person. And she's like, I don't fucking care what other people think. And it's cool because I'm always like, that's why I'm in the position I am. But when you hear, like, people actually say it out loud, people are like, oh, yeah, who cares? Yes. Or that type of personality. Like, who cares? Don't worry about it. Just freaking do it.
Do it. Yes. Yeah. So I would definitely give some kudos to Barbie for kind of leading me down that path to meet Bogey because it was an awesome experience. So.
I actually have to go to the airport in a couple of minutes. So I know. Oh, shit. Friends in the air right now that I'm going to have to pick them up. I want to hear advice to any woman who's thinking about teaching. We'll do twofold stuff. Teaching in the welding industry. What kind of advice would you give them?
So definitely build your confidence up. That's definitely something I've had to work on because I've lacked confidence, which who doesn't lack confidence?
Me.
I mean, okay.
Me.
Okay. That's awesome that you don't because
like important.
Yeah. Confidence is definitely, obviously being confident and not cocky is definitely something, that you want to, like, I definitely had a starting point. Like, I thought I was confident, but definitely, like, teaching brings it to a whole nother level. And so have confidence in yourself. Yes. If you need help, there's definitely resources out there to get help, get other ideas. If you're having issues with something, just reach out. Find those people that are going to be in your corner. Because if you don't have people in your corner, it's definitely going to be hard.
Yes.
And don't be afraid. Just do it, like you've been saying. Just do it. Just do it. Like I said and never say never. That's another thing.
Yes.
Gosh darn it. Like, you never know. And if you don't like it, you don't have to stay teaching.
Yeah. Well, there's no such thing as never. Because just like you said, you had absolutely no idea that you were going to do it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Never put the negative connotation in your head. Oh, yeah. Hi.
So.
Stick welding. I love you. But yeah, that's true. Do not sell yourself short, and don't put like that negative mindset already. Like, you never know. I had no idea. And then boom. And it's like the best thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's the same case for me. Like, I thought I would hate teaching, and I absolutely love it because I love helping people, and that's what I get to do every day while teaching my passion that I absolutely love.
Yes.
So it's awesome.
So. I am going to wrap this up, you guys, because I gotta go. Anyhow, but I want you guys to know that I'm going to tag Project MVP and the Fab Tech and Edge goose hunt that everybody's involved in, and all the cool tags. I wrote a bunch of stuff down, but I'm gonna make sure I tag this afterwards, and I want to do a follow up with you. See, there's my timer. Shut up. Anyhow, I want to do a follow up with you after Fab Tech just to see how well it went.
Yes, this is my first time going to Fab Tech, so it's definitely going to be interesting.
You're going to have a blast, dude, and I'm going to live vicariously through you because I'm so upset I cannot go, but I can't right now.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but I appreciate you. As far as education, make sure you guys go onto the Welding Women Syndicate. There's a whole slew of women who are on there that I've interviewed. Plus, go on to LinkedIn, you guys. It's very important so LinkedIn is basically just a website for like your resume and industry professionals, right? So it's like Instagram without all the BS, you know what I mean? LinkedIn is completely professional based on your experience, your career, your resume. You will touch base with so many more educators I have done. So important if you're in education, important if you're trying to get into education, get your profile up, and then reach out to people, reach out to their different organizations. And I will make sure I tag everything. And thank you, Tina. I appreciate you. I love talking to an instructor. It's like a sympathetic, and I appreciate it.
I love being able to talk to you, and I'm so glad that I found you. So that way we could, bounce, ideas off of each other. And if we've had a bad day, I know I can always reach out to you, which is awesome.
Like the first day.
I know.
You're still here. It's good. It's good. And we're gonna talk something about the mentoring thing a little bit later on too, because I want to do something just like that here, but like more. You know what I mean? Because I think you just need like our people, not necessarily just welders, but like the education aspect.
Yes.
So it's different. We're different. That's for damn sure.
For sure.
But I appreciate you guys. I gotta go. I love you. Have fun at Fab Tech and keep us posted. And I will repost everything for you. And yeah, peace out.
Yep. Definitely stay tuned to my story. I'll definitely be posting. So thanks for having me.
To it. Thank you, girl. Bye.
See ya.